Welcome to Below the Belt. Welcome to Below the Belt. Folks, this is our 12th episode of the Below the Belt podcast. Can you believe it or not? We've already done 12 episodes, and we are so privileged for all of you guys who are joining us. I hope you guys are hearing us loud and clear out there. Let us know how you are receiving the audio. We'll be so grateful. Daryl Cambridge, we see you. Candy Naline, Inderjit, we see you as well. Say hello to Marky Mark for us. How are you guys doing out there today? Let us know if you're receiving the audio loud and clear. And today we have a very special program, very special person who is going to be joining us below the belt. We got the one and only, the Chief Whip, Opposition Chief Whip in the National Assembly of Guyana, the Honorable Christopher Jones. He's going to be stopping by today, December 14th. Folks, it's mid-month already, mid-month already. Can you guys believe that? Can you guys believe that? We're already on our way. Good to see each and every one of you, wherever you guys are joining us from. So privileged to see you. We're going to be talking about the install regime. These guys are talking about some kind of steady progress in the transformation of Guyana. What steady progress? Y'all see any steady progress coming out of these people? Folks, they got some jagabats, they got some trenches on the chat. Y'all got to deal with them, you know. Don't spare them. Y'all deal with them. I can't deal with them at the moment the way I'd want to deal with them. But I got some trenches and jagabats on the string. I want you all to deal with them. Vashti Magnot. Good to see you all the way there in Waterloo, Canada. Good to see you, Vashti. Pamela Saturine. Great to see you as well, Pamela and Rose Capel, and I see Miguel Burrows here with us as well. In addition to that, I see Vibert White is with us. I see also Margaret Padmore is here. Tessa Isaacs Graves Andy. We see you too, Tessa. Jason McDonald and George Arnon. I see Paulette Greaves, Anesta Abridge, Marcel Dioliver is here as well. I see Diane Mitchell Henry, Michaela Webster. Welcome to Below the Belt, guys. Good to see so many of you. And as you come on, please take the opportunity to share the live broadcast of our podcast Below the Belt. Good to see you guys. Really good to see each and every one of you. What is the weather like? Wherever you guys are joining us from, believe it or not, it is 30 degrees in Georgetown, and we have a 9% chance of rain this afternoon. A 9% chance of rain this afternoon, folks. Well, that's good with me. It's not too hot. It's not too uh, cold here. But we know when we say cold, what we mean in the national capital city in Guyana, in the oil producing republic. You guys like Vashti in Canada, you all have a different interpretation when you hear cold. We see it snowing a lot. It's really snowing heavily already in Canada and some other places. And we really want to ensure that you guys stay warm. So, guys, do that for us. Do that for us and stay warm. But again, the weather's looking up here. The weather is looking up here, and we are very, very happy for that. In addition to Christopher Jones, we may have some other folks joining us. We may have some other folks joining us. Really, really good to have some other folks who might be stopping by. And also to all of you, especially you, our podcast listeners, we're so glad to have you. Sherry, I see you there. Winston Henry, I see you as well. Colin Alexander, we see you, Colin. I see Sherlyn Bash. And folks, I want to alert you very early that my son is in studio. So if you hear a child, he might interrupt me, but I'm very happy to have him in studio with me today. And he might be joining us very, very shortly. Um, my son Zane is in the studio, and he's just pushed his head through the studio door, and we're happy to we're happy to have him with us. But as I said, we may have some other folks joining us this afternoon. He is up and looks like he's gonna want to to be a little troublesome. But guys, again, we may have some other folks joining us on the broadcast. I see David Patterson might be stopping by, and also MP Director Finance may be stopping by as well. So guys, I want you to prepare for them, and they are going to be with us very, very shortly. But we already have the Member of Parliament, Christopher Jones, who is already in studio, and he is fired up and he is ready to go. And guys, we hope that wherever you guys are joining the broadcast from today, that you guys are warm if you're in a cold climate, and you are dry, if you are like us here in Guyana, where it's raining periodically. And the Jagabats ain't got no solution, we had a flood a couple of months ago, and that has left us no better prepared to deal with these heavy rains that we're having currently. I think I think my son wants to say hello. You guys may hear his voice during the broadcast. You may hear his voice during the broadcast, but it's so good to have all of you. And as I said, David Patterson, former Minister of Infrastructure, might be joining us, and we're discussing today. We are discussing today what the installed regime, calling steady progress and transformation in this country. They're trying to hoodwink we. The installed PPP regime, they're trying to hoodwink us. These installed bunch. Well, folks, that being said, they have just installed imposed Vishnu Prasad on us at GCOM there. And you all understand why. The people are setting the thing up. Setting the thing up to rig it. We understand why. We understand why they're doing what they're doing there. Clot it with them, right? Setting the thing up for a massive, massive market, massive rigging. But we are going to withstand them, folks. We are going to withstand. You and I can do it together. Esther Blue and Andre Griffith and is it Cameron Augustus, Veronica Primo Rollins and Joyce Van Kooten and Alison Brian. We can do it together, folks. We can do it alone. We can't do it, but together we can do it. Together we can do it. Roxanne Estrado. Good to see you, Roxanne. Haven't seen you in a little bit. Good to see you back. Alia Waldron. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. And Alia is absolutely right. Alia says, no rest day. Things tight. No, you can't rest, Alia. And things tight. Good to see you, Tracy Boyce and Andrew Cuthbert. Good to see you, Michaela. Good to see you there, Michaela. Folks, don't let the trenches get away with anything on this chat. Don't let it get away with nothing at all in the comments. Nothing at all, 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 at all. Don't let them get away with anything. Good. All right. That being said, guys, the folks are installing, they are imposing Vishnu Prasad. Vishnu Prasad. Trying to convince us that Vishnu was a superior candidate. The man out of Jamaica had so many elections under his belt, managing elections, managing electoral systems successfully, brighter than Vishnu by miles. But Claudette Singh, the chairperson of GCOM, wants to hoodwink this nation and would have us to believe that Vishnu Prasad was the superior candidate. Why? Why was Vishnu Prasad the superior candidate? Oh, because Suraj Bali. Because Suraj Bali wrote some letter on Vishnu Prasad, an endorsement about Vishnu Prasad. Give us a break. Give us a damn break with Vishnu Prasad. So, that being said, folks, I want to head into the main discussion. Great to have so many of you joining the live stream, guys. It's just about 12 minutes after 12 here in Guyana. We know that the folks in the US, it should be 12 minutes after 11, because you guys have gone an hour behind us now. We out front, people. One way or the next. We out front here in South America. We out front. But good to see each and every one of you guys. What are you guys having for lunch? What's for lunch today? Thanks for having us on during your lunch break. I just had a banana. I'm going to take perhaps something else a little later on. But I'm happy to be here with you. Happy to have Christopher Jones here with you guys, as well as we look at this whole concept. Catfish just put out this video. in which he's talking, Catfish, about steady progress in the transformation of Guyana. He might be right, because James Bond, just over the weekend, when they shut down James Bond place at 10 o'clock, when the curfew is 11 o'clock, James Bond was saying they got two Guyanas. They got two Guyanas. So it must be the other Guyana that Air and them know about. Maybe that is where they got this steady progress in the transformation of Guyana. Maybe it's that place. That second Guyana. Who vex lose? Who vex vex? We say what we gotta say. Who vex vex? That's it. So, folks, Catfish, as I said, just released a video, right? And everything in this video is what he told us a year ago, what he told us 6 months ago. Everything coming soon. And one coming soon is the APNU AFC project. I can say without successful contradiction. It's projects from APNU AFC, the TFIN, and branding as PPP projects. And bringing himself and his Catfish regime to talk about steady progress in the transformation of Guyana. What he should have added there was using the APNU AFC projects, because that is all they are. And I'm going to go through some of what he said, so you can understand the propaganda, Colin Alexander. You can understand the propaganda, Maureen Paul and Paulette Greaves and Albert Morgan. We can understand the propaganda and the misinformation. You know why he has to come out and do this kind of damage control? They're in trouble, folks. He didn't come out with a Christmas message. He come out with like a budget speech. The things that they're doing. Why? Why out of the blue? They are in trouble. The Americans talking, civil society talking, everybody talking about the nonsense and the foolishness and the backwardness of the PPP. And so they're worried. Folks, we want to see those emojis. We want to see those shares. They are worried. And you know, when you all show up for these programs like Below the Belt and in the ring, oh, they get even more worried. Catfish, they're worried. Nobody listens to them. Nobody watches anything that they do. We watch because we have to report to you guys what they do it. But the population don't have time with them. Huh? Population do not have time with them. Look, the amount of people that tune into their broadcast, their press conferences. Nobody listens to them. Nobody looks at NCN. Nobody listens to DPI. They have lost any little goodwill they may have come into office with. Any little goodwill, if they had any, they have already lost that. And people are happy to see them go. Civil society already speaking out. They're fed up of them. Fed up of them. They are terrible for health. They're terrible for public security. They're terrible for natural resource management. Oh, Father, they're terrible on crime. They ain't good at nothing besides being catfish. That's all they're good for. Wicked, stink, and dirty. That's who the people be. That's who it is. And that is why you pick a man like Vishnu, a man that you could control, a yes man like Vishnu Prasad, to be CEO. They don't want nobody proper. This government get anybody proper. You look across the spectrum of the people they offer for leadership. They got anybody proper? Look at them. Anybody that commands respect. Look at their picks for ministers. God knows where to drag half of these people out from. Who got no business in public life. They command no constituency. They command no following. They're just there. Right? And they got to get a whole host of sirens every goddamn day to make themselves look important and seem important. Not so Dorrit, David, not so Marsha Glasgow, not so Eva Austin. Y'all right, PPP equal bad news. I love that comment. The PPP equals bad news. I wish I could highlight that comment. The PPP equals the bad news. Robin Allen Barnwell says that. PPP equals bad news for Guyana. Kudos to Robin Allen Barnwell. Y'all like that comment if you see it passing by there. Like the comment from Allen. Robin Allen Barnwell. PPP equals bad news for Guyana. Dexter Halley. You're right, Dexter. They should stop shipping cocaine. Yeah? It's a cocaine economy. That's the only thing prospering. The only economy prospering in this country is the cocaine economy. That's the economy prospering. Folks, that being said, that being said, I'm privileged, very, very privileged to have, as I said to you, the opposition chief whip, period. Because Gail is not me chief whip. Uh, we're privileged to have Christopher Jones, the Honorable Member of Parliament, joining us today as part of our discussion. I am giving you a heads up that David Patterson should be joining us a little later on in our discussion. Welcome, welcome, Christopher Jones. So nice, Chris. We have to do it twice. You were on with us last night in the ring, and we're so privileged, Chris, to have you back with us below the belt. You're a fighter, and so we're privileged to have you out here. 23 years now, this man out here fighting. He out here. He bigger the ball. He fighting. Chris, welcome to Below the Belt.
Thank you very much, Sherrod. A pleasant good day to you and your listeners. It is my pleasure once again, of course, being on the show.
Chris.
Below the belt.
Welcome, my brother. Folks, why don't you give Chris a good welcome? Share the live stream, especially those who might be joining us on the Christopher Jones page. And also, we want to see those emojis. We love when we see those emojis. Chris the Catfish come out this morning. God knows who pushed you out. God knows he pushed you. He looked like he just wake up. He got a little boob in the eye. But the man come for talk about steady progress in the transformation of Guyana, right? You know there's some memes on social media. Nobody colon, and then you got Irfan. He just run out. Steady progress in the transformation of Guyana, but we understand why. It's the pressure they're under, Chris. It's a pack of nonsense they're doing. A whole set of foolishness.
No, no, listen, Sherrod. This is what the PPP is good. This is what the PPP is good for. Again, as we said, propaganda. So on every program that you've had, you have spoken at length in terms of the reality on the ground. The average Guyanese can't find basic monies to provide food for their families. They can't pay the utility bills. They can't pay rent. They can't pay mortgages. A lot of persons who have existing mortgages within the last, I think, 6 or 7 months, based on the information received from several of the commercial banks in Guyana, the banks have since moved to foreclose on their property because they have fallen into arrears and there's no way out. The reality of the public servants who were under the coalition government on an excellent trajectory in terms of increases in their wages and salaries that they could have actually planned for their future development in this country, whether it's taking a mortgage, whether it's for building a house, acquiring a car, furthering their children's education to the university or further afield. All of those hopes and dreams and aspiration of the Guyanese people have since been dashed since the PPP taken up in office. And then, of course, you have the crime situation that is spiraling out of control on a daily basis. You read it every single day. We see an increase of interpersonal violence. You see murder, suicide is on the increase in the country. And that is the reality on the ground. But what the PPP is good for is spreading propaganda to
I would
try
say they're
to
good for nothing.
change the narrative. And lo and behold, they have to throw Irfan Ali out there to try to project to the Guyanese and people further afield. Listen, everything in Guyana is hunky
Yes,
dory.
things and
You
tight.
know, God.
Things and tight. It's them, just them boys in the
Sorry,
opposition.
I didn't hear you.
No, he's trying to convince us that things and tight. What we're feeling is just we imagination running away with us. Things are really tight. Go right ahead, Chris.
Sure.
Go right ahead, Chris.
Sorry, I lost you there for a bit, or I don't know if it's you.
Go right ahead, Chris.
Yeah, you
I was saying that he's trying to convince us, catfish, trying to convince us that things are not tight.
exactly. But this is what they do. They try to say to the Guyanese people, listen, it is a figment of your imagination. You know, things are not difficult in this country. Look, these beautiful roads that being built and so on. But they're not telling the Guyanese people these are road projects or these are projects in general are the coalition government. That essentially all they're doing is going along for a free ride. I tell people, for example, what is happening with the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport, with the Minister of Contracts. Very soon, they're going to be a cutting of the ribbon ceremony at the gymnasium on Mandela Avenue, in which you'll have a spanking asphalted parking lot and lights that are going up. And I can share with people the video illustration that we put together under my administration as director of sports for the National Gymnasium. So it is nothing new. You saw recently when he went and cut ribbon at the cultural center, trying to say to people that he is responsible. This time is a project that started under the former minister, Dr. George Norton. And so forth, it continues. But no matter what they do, they can put out all the video and try to sell a dream. The reality on the ground is the reality. The average Guyanese can't buy a loaf of bread. A loaf of bread now has
but
increased.
but
You go
but
in the marketplace, it
Chris, let
you
me
know.
let me share with the viewers some of what was said because we ain't gonna share all of this stuff. You understand? And do their PR, their propaganda for them. Part of what Catfish said in this video presentation is that we were challenged. The country was challenged under the AFC government. Hear this now. There was hopelessness, Chris. There was hopelessness. I
Mhm.
want to know is which period this man talking about because this is the Catfish regime that took two budgets, right? The biggest budgets ever, and give us 7% for public servants. And now they don't want public servants to have Christmas parties. They're giving we a they're giving us a 7,000 hamper, $7,000 hamper. This is a pack of rice and a half pint oil and a quarter pound salt. $7,000 hamper, right? And Catfish come out talking about hopelessness. There was hopelessness when they came in, right? And these are the folks who the mid-year economic report told us there's 5.4% inflation, 18 months, and then government. And the cost of living, as you were so eloquently articulating, Chris, has risen by 14%. So I don't know is hopelessness under who
Exactly.
administration
Exactly.
Catfish talking about. Great ahead, Chris.
Yeah. Sharon, I don't. Okay, you hear me clearly, Sharon?
Yes, great ahead, Chris.
Right. Yeah, that is the point. And I mean, in the video illustration, you want to know exactly this man is talking about. He spoke about the water sector and the imagery that they put out there would give one the impression. But it was under Dr. Richard Van West Charles, who was director at the Guyana Water Inc., who, for the first time in Guyana's history, there were Amerindian communities in regions 9, 8 that never had potable water in their life. And because of, I think it is about approximately 180 something new wells that were dug, that for the first time in those communities, people are having potable water. You speak of the water right now in our community of Tugville or South Georgetown. Water pressure used to always be at the first level of your home. Of the past 3 weeks, we have no water supply, and the water is limited. You get it early in the morning, and so rather than progressing as we have been doing under the coalition government, we are now retrogressing. All of the gains have now been turned back. We spoke about monies and the largest budget ever that the PPP boasts about. Right now, we are sitting discussing two financial papers that we received only yesterday from the PPP in Parliament, in which they are coming to the Parliament on Thursday for ask for an additional $26 billion more. And then some of this money again, you have 3,888,000,000 that they're requesting once again for guess who? For Guy Suko again. And again, we spoke at length about they talk about the increase in wages and salaries for public servants, and they promised them that they will have a good Christmas at the end of the year. We were told by no less of a person than Jagdeo himself that they have set aside $10 billion for the public servants, and they will receive these monies at the end of the year. We at the end of the year, and the public servants got nothing more than shaft from the PPP,
Mm-hmm.
and that is what the PPP is built for. That is how they operate. That is the modus operandi. Once their friends, their cronies, continues to get billions of dollars in contracts, once they continue to live the big life, as you mentioned with the sirens, and their friends and family can put sirens and police lights on the cars, and they can tear down the road. That is the PPP. The PPP is least concerned about building the human capital. They've never been concerned about that, and they're good at propaganda. But you see, what catching them up, Sharon, is, like the song, "This time a long time." You can't just throw something out there and believe that people will believe it. You have access to social media, you have access to Google, and young people and people in general do their own research, and they will always be caught in a lie. Here it is, Irfan Ali coming and selling a fluff. Nothing more than fluff. That whole video is nothing more than fluff. Because when you speak
Fluff
about
and bluff.
transformational development, you speaking about you're speaking about transformational development, and the reality that people in this country can't afford to buy food to eat. That's the reality.
And as a matter of fact, Chris, you are not just talking off of the top of your head, because the World Bank report just issued, flagged this country for food insecurity. They flagged us for food insecurity. They're very concerned, Chris. Chris, folks, Chris is going to rejoin the conversation uh, shortly. But the World Bank report has just flagged this country, the PPPC administration, for food insecurity. One, two, they have flagged us for. Um, they have flagged us. Let me see if this might be Chris coming through. You are live on the program.
Mr. Duncan?
You are live on the program, sir. Below the belt. You want to be live?
No, 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 no,
Oh,
no, no,
well, I'll
no.
take you afterwards. Thanks. Yeah. Let me ensure that we have Chris back with us. But the World Bank has flagged these jagabats, this install administration, for food insecurity recently. For blackout recently, flagged us for those issues, and they have also flagged us for um another issue that we want to highlight here. They have also flagged us for another issue. I think we have Christopher Jones, the MP, the opposition chief, we're back with us. So, Chris, I was talking with the viewers about the issues we have been flagged for by the World Bank report. They have flagged us for blackouts, persistent blackouts. They have flagged us for a very, very low education engagement rate with our students, and they have flagged us for food insecurity. And this man talking about there was hopelessness when they came into office. Well, let us argue, let us be the devil's advocate that yes, there was hopelessness. Then there is still hopelessness with all that they have done. They have not corrected it.
Mhm.
Chris, go right ahead, Christopher. Go right ahead, Chris.
Correct. Listen, it's like, as we mentioned when we spoke, I think it was last week, as it relates to the World Bank report. It's like the World Bank report is an illustration of what is happening in Guyana. It appears that the persons came here to Guyana, and based on what their findings were, that is what they used to put together the dossier. And essentially, the World Bank is now saying to the rest of the world that, listen, don't do like Guyana, you know? don't do like Guyana, because these are the problems of Guyana. But apparently, those documentation don't reach the desk of Irfan
No,
Ali.
no, no.
Like those documentation don't go to cabinet. Even like yesterday, you heard some of the ministers try to respond to some of the presentations that were made by the opposition MPs. Clearly, they're just fluff. Nobody has researched anything. They just stand up and ad lib. Like the minister of culture, just stand up and ad lib and talk 2 words and sit down, and that's your
And
contribution.
Chris, I
That
was
is
I
what we
was
have been
just
seeing.
about to come in with that because I saw an interesting article in the Chronicle in which Gail Teixeira is trying to tell the public that the opposition MPs weren't prepared for Parliament. I know she listened to Charles Ramson and some of the other
Correct.
people yesterday.
Exactly. Exactly. They had nothing prepared. They had nothing to be prepared, because they believe that this thing is just a bluff. You just come up and say 2 words, and it comes back to. I mean, when you speak about parliamentary democracy, there's some basic expectation of government and opposition, and especially when you speak about transparency, accountability, and holding them accountable. But the PPP during the 23 years in office, particularly their parliamentary agenda, has always been, regardless of the presentations that were made by past, and I'm talking persons like Winston Murray, Derek Bernard, Robert Corbyn, Cheryl Sampson, Balder Lawrence, Basil Williams, the list goes on. Despite the presentations that would have been made by those members of parliament, the PPP simply tossed all of their recommendations aside and they go ahead and they vote because they had this modus operandi that is now being employed now. That listen, as an opposition, you will have your say, but we will have our way because they have the majority. And it is the same thing being played out now. So the government MPs believe that they don't have to come to parliament with any substance. All they have to come is stand up and fluff and throw out 2 words, and that is sufficient. Because either way, if it comes down to the votes, they will have the majority, and therefore, whatever piece of legislation that they have will pass. And that is what is happening now. That is what is happening now. And again, Sharon, we predicted this. We predicted last week when we spoke that the parliament is going to be meeting back yesterday, Monday, after 64 days of an hiatus. And when the parliament meets, you will likely see that the PVP coming to you because they want more money.
Money, money, money,
And
money.
knowing the beast, money, knowing the
Money.
nature of the beast, so set, so done, that yesterday, while we met in the parliament after 64 days, here comes the PPP with 2 supplementary financial
Yep.
papers, which mounted to $26 billion.
That is what they really come
And
for,
this
They
speaks
ain't come
about
for them bills and so. It's the money they come for. The bills is a sideshow.
but when you go through line by line in these items, Sherrod, it says something, it screams at you that this is a total incompetent administration because you came to the parliament with a budget. And in this budget, for every ministry, for every government agency, for every sector, you itemize what you projected you would need. And you projected this based on what you requested last budget cycle, what you spent, what you requested, and what you spent. It was based on that. Now, here it is again. This is the second supplementary that they're coming back for. So it says that you are totally incompetent of running a country. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you
Mm-hmm.
project that these are the monies that you need in a budget, and the budget turns out to be the largest budget ever in history, and you run into a year end and you don't have sufficient monies to continue. It shows that you're incompetent as it relates to the financial structure of this country. And then a most important question. Now, on at midnight on December 31st, 2021, in a few days from now, every monies that have been allocated to the government via the parliament, via the budget or supplementary budget, has to be exhausted. So literally today is the 14th day of December. You merely have days remaining before the conclusion of the year. Midnight on December the 31st, all expenditures stop. How could how could your PPP show us how they will be able to spend 26 point something billion dollars in a few days from now.
Chris, them boys going to Dubai
How is that
again.
possible?
Them boys going to Dubai again. But folks, we are privileged to have former Minister of Infrastructure David Patterson joining us. And I did tell you guys my son would be joining me in the studio, and he's here, and he's a handful people. Zane Humble Tate, the man, daddy walking. David, welcome to the discussion. David, half this man little presentation he had this morning was about you.
Live, Sharon.
Welcome.
Well, glad to be here. Season greetings to you and your listeners. Starting off, it's a time. It's a time of giving, and of course, the Irfan give us a whole mouthful.
So I just want to run through a couple of the things that he spoke about. He said that when they come in, David, he said that infrastructure in the water sector lacked maintenance, could not provide for the needs of the people. Infrastructure. The band said that we have made steady progress in the transformation of Guyana. A new bridge across the Demerara River. This is laughable. He said that they giving the people of this country a new bridge across the Demerara River. He said that there's a new four-lane highway linking the East Coast to the East Bank. There's a new four-lane highway on the East Coast and the East Bank of Demerara. The Linden to Mabura Road, they're starting that. New hinterland access roads, deep water facilities, a bridge across the quarantine. I don't know, but like I've heard this list of items somewhere else before, David. I don't know if you could help me out.
Well, first and foremost, Sharon, that the PPP are not known for being honest.
Interlocutors.
In government. So we shouldn't be surprised, and we should also not be surprised. It's Christmas. Christmas is the time of wishes. So what he's presented and he's asked Santa to give is what we've already done already. But when the little kids get their hand in the cookie jar, they start off with all sorts of great fibs and lies and they dream about all sorts of things. But every single thing that he talked about, let's start on the maintenance. I start on the pet topic, which everybody knows, GPL. When we took over in 2015, GPL was on life support. Everybody knows that. It's not something we don't need to come and tell us, or no podcast or no message. It was on life support. We took over Breeding Hoop. The last generating center they built was Breeding Hoop. And when we took over, the commissioners, the big Ramatar commissioners in December 2014, is there to end all blockouts and blah, blah, blah. Elections coming. When we took over, Breeding Hoop wasn't even working. We had to truck. We used to have to truck to get to operation. We had to truck gas from Guyana across the bridge. It used to cost 10 million Guyana dollars a week. Just in transportation, not in cost of fuel, just in transportation. Because you use one of those tankers. That's what they gave us, The project Breeding Hoop that they were talking about, it started off with $483 million. They ended up with $1.2 billion. We had to sit down and sort that out. They put a cable. Everybody know that famous cable they put over across from Breeding Hoop to Kingston. Any little ballyhoo pass, busway the cable. We had to sit down and put in additional cables to ensure that when that happens, because it happens every year. It happened like already this year, already twice a year. To ensure that when it happens, the inevitable happens that the whole country don't have blackout. We installed generators in Anara, China, Bartica, Legwan, Berbice, Garden Eden, to ensure that we bring the system up. So by 2020, when these guys were installed, they had a functioning system. But just like your son, when you leave little children in a place and they see all sorts of bright buttons and things, and so they start blaming it. No matter if you tell them, don't touch this.
I know that too well,
don't
David.
touch this
I know it too well.
Not going to block out the whole country. Not at all. Yeah, they went touching buttons, you know what I mean? Wow. Block out. And they claim that we didn't do no maintenance, right? We did more maintenance in the 5-year period that they ever did in, like, say, 10 years. That's why the system was working. It wasn't like what we having now, in fairy lights. I know it's Christmas, but fairy lights. So for him to say, I mean, he got up and said that there was no maintenance in the high voltage line, which is true, not true. The GPL himself admitted there's maintenance in high voltage line. But the reason they do this is what Chris is talking about. They just want to get their hands on the money. So therefore, if you fix a road, but then you're going to give a man a paintbrush and say, go and paint a stop sign on it, you pay full money. So that's why they're making these claims that there's no this, no that, so they could raid the cookie jar. But all the readers in Guyana, all your listeners in Guyana would know though that by 2020, what's happening now was never ever there. We had sort of almost eliminated it. We got into a manageable level. It hadn't eliminated blockable, but had a manageable level. So that's, it's Christmas. You got a time. It's Christmas. It's a time of wishes and dreams and the festive season and so. But I think he's taking it way too far. And he's speaking rich. We did that. The East Bank East Road. Hear what, Sherrod? Here is the laughable thing. They did a video clip while during a speech, saying this is how the new East Coast look. We did that whole design. They used our video clip and said, "Oh, we're bringing it to you."
The wicked,
David. That's the type of
the
people
wicked,
they are. They look
the
reality,
wicked.
stare you in your face and lie. You know what I mean? It's on the old days, they call them bare-faced liars. That's what they are, bare-faced liars. You know what I mean? The lend them to Maburu, we on the APNU, we took the money, we went to get the money, $55 million $75 million to build the Linden Maburu Road. Guess what? The road, they never wanted it. They went to the British just when we secured the money, and the British agreed. Barrow Jagdeo, I could say this. Barrow Jagdeo went to them to say that I don't want to build this road because they're not interested in that. They're not interested in developing Hinton, not interested in developing Region 10 and those things, but they don't control that. And the British said to them in 2018, 2019, that if you cancel this project, we will take back our money because they're giving us the money free. So here's what they do. If you look in the newspapers, here's what they're doing. They had $75 million or some more. They reduced it in half. So then give you a dirty brick something. I said how we do it. So half the money that people give us free to build this road is what they're using. The tenders come back and they're only using $34 million. You have $75 million free, a grant from you call it from a fund, different fund. So I think David Cameron was the MP. He came and he was in Barbados, and so big splash. Never wanted it, but of course the British can take back their money. So of course, let me do a half skull thing. So that's why they're giving you a half skull thing. Check today's papers. Check Wednesday's last week. Check Sunday or Monday's paper. Starbuck News and Kaito News. Tenders come back at $34 million. That's what the budget. Half the free money. Where the other half, Sherrod? So all these things that he's talking about, we have, and you have a couple.
David, I was saying Casper gone with the money.
Yes. So we had a development plan. It's since 2016. There's all these things are on it. You hear me, Sharon?
Loud and clear, sir. Loud and clear.
Yes. So he literally went and looked at our playbook and said, "Oh yeah, boy, I like this, and tried to put on the unsuspecting power. But our Guyanese people and our people abroad, they know this already. We did all the work, every single thing he's talking about, save except the oil and gas project, which is it's going to be a big white elephant. We had put in place. So they just carried on. They're working on remote control and claiming that, oh, we did it for you.
David and Chris, what is interesting was the end of the Marlil presentation. That was the done of us. The man said at the end, Chris and David, he said, come together, rally together, embrace each other, building a one Guyana, strong and resolute. These people is listening to themselves. They have been so divisive. I mean, every quarter of this society, even Starbuck News, said that the president says one thing and the government does something totally different. Yeah. And they're tired hearing this one Guyana theme that They are not pursuing at all. One Guyana where the man said, come together,
Well,
rally
let's start.
together, embrace each other. David, go ahead.
Well, let's start at the top of come together and this one guy is you, sure. Constitution. Let's start with the Constitution. Our highest, the highest supreme law of the land. The Constitution mandates that the government has to speak to the opposition to enact certain critical things. Things like selection of the Chancellor of the Judiciary and the Chief Justice of the Judiciary. The Constitution says you must speak to the opposition. Right. You know what he said? If you don't like the clothes I wear and you tell me I'm looking good, I ain't talking to you. If you don't say the thought I am the best, I am the president, I ain't talking to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The Constitution never be liking you. I can remember Chris would tell you, I never ever spoke to Janet Jagan, but she had constitutional duty. Never ever. That's right. But she had constitutional responsibility. She was the president at the time. She had to confer with him, and that's how we have several things. So this stupidness is time will come together and those things like that. On one hand, they want us to come together and give workers a one-off tax-free $250,000 in a lump sum. Then you give public servants who keeps this country running. I mean, everybody's deserving the money. I'm glad that the sugar workers got $250,000 tax-free one-off lump sum. Why not give every working Guyanese that sort of money, public service that money? Rather, you give them 7% taxable, and then you bring in, as Chris was talking about, you bring a supplementary, you come to 30-something billion. And let's put this in perspective, you know, I mean, the one-off pay, the 7% taxable money that they give to the public service, that only came to like $2.4 billion. $2.4 billion the other day, but they could still find $32 billion in excess money. Right. 8 times the amount of the money they give the public service. Come on. Out that $38 billion they could have cut off and taken out another $2 or $3 billion, at least give public servants a 10% increase minimum. Because inflation done gone with that. I mean, bread prices gone up. $100 a loaf of bread a break. Well, they're gone up. Gas prices, Christmas time when you go and bake your black tea. Cooking gas price gone up. Every single thing. So they one hand, they public servants and all of the hard-working public servants take this money here and the total amount of money, $4.2 billion. That's the 7%. They're taking back some of that money because they're taxing it. But they come in tomorrow, they're rushed to take another $30-something billion out. And then they say, come together, we are one and we care for you. Hogwash. You're a caring government, you look after all your people. All your people. So we're very, very happy for the sugar work. Nice Christmas. But the sweeper cleaner, the clerk, the office workers listening to this, that 7% doesn't get eat up.
But you know what?
Even buying what it means to
David and Chris, in the final moments of our program, I think it's the PPP's own words that are haunting. They have stopped the Christmas parties, they have stopped the Christmas socials, they say because of COVID. Mind you, they ain't following these same COVID rules and regulations. Right? It's one set of regulations for some people and another set for people like James Bond and so on with legitimate businesses. They have said they have now been they're now giving David and Chris, they're now giving a $7,000 hamper to public servants. But what is the catch? Is where funds available in the agencies. Where funds are available. And that seems to be how they are treating public servants on the whole. One set of people will get $250,000. Yes. Yeah, precisely, Chris. Where funds available, you can get something. A little something. Final thoughts, guys.
Sharon and Chris, let me tell you this. I could speak with 100% at least on the Ministry of Public Infrastructure. And we had 19 agencies in transport and harbors, GPL, GA, Marriott, all those places. So every single announced that he's getting that he's giving an increase to the public servants, every one of those agencies got the exact same increase. I see this year that GPL can't afford it, but GPL got every single year whatever increase that was announced by Winston Jordan. GPL got that. The government never get GPL any money to give these increases. They were financially sound. GEA got the money. Transport and Harbors got the money. Every single agency under the Ministry of Infrastructure, 2019 and 2019, every agency got not where funds are available. So the question goes, gentlemen, where are funds? How come all these funds has disappeared? How come we were able to pay every single agency was able to get whatever money was available, every employee, whatever the government, and yet in 2021 they're saying that they were broke, that we left them broke.
Yep.
And they can't afford to do it. But we can't afford to do it. This year they're going back, as they say, they're going to give GPL another $4 billion in the supplementary. Under the AP and APU government, GPL never got a subsidy. Actually, GPL were actually paying back. They were paying back $1 billion every single year. Yet they were able to improve the service, pay increases to their workers and those things, and not a cent. This year they give GPL $9 billion. On top of that, GPL was owed money from all over. When we inherited it, there was GPL and owed from the regions and those things like that, almost like $10 billion. They were still able to operate, survive, expand, do their work without a cent from government and pay their workers. Yet they're only there 1 year. They're now pumping in $10 billion into GPL, and GPL still broke. Go figure.
Chris and David, what's interesting as we wrap up is, as David said, Irfan claim, Catfish claim in this little presentation the man had, that they met an empty treasury on August 2nd, 2020. Yet by September 1, they were passing a $329.5 billion national budget from an empty treasury.
No. Listen to me. They met an empty. They always claim they met an empty treasury, but they were high praise. How they passed the highest ever budget.
Yep.
Highest ever budget they cleared.
So as David said,
in 2020.
As David said.
So where you get this money from?
As David rightfully said, by September they came into office, installed in office in August. September they passed a $229.5 billion budget. By February the following year, this year February, they passed a $383.1 billion budget, but the treasury empty. Chris,
you know what is important to add to as well in terms of the credit to the AP and UAFC government, and what people don't realize, when the AP and UAFC got into office in 2017 and in 2018, the AP and UAFC requested or took $0 out of the consolidated fund. $0. And it was only as a result of the whole no confidence motion 2018 December. In 2019, they had to go into there to ensure that those agencies and were able to stay afloat. $0. Since these hustlers, since these barefoot, flat-footed political hustlers got into office, is money out of the consolidated fund. I want to know if the fund not done yet with the amount of expenditures that we coming up.
Precisely.
And you people ask the question, where are these money going? These ain't going in the pocket of the average man, woman, and child on the road. People afford to buy bread, Sherrod. You go and listen, and leading into this Christmas season, you see people to start baking half of a cake because you can't buy the butter or the sugar. So you mix it for making one cake in this country. Times are hard. So when Catfish, Irfan, Ali jump up on these PR blitz to try to hoodwink, to insult the intelligence of the Guyanese people, it tells you a lot about the PPP. That is how they say you would see this blatant in front of your face and know the reality of this country. And PPP will come and paint a rosy picture. Everything in Guyana is honky dory, bright and beautiful. And this point on this um, oneness that they always project, that oneness and working together and living in harmony, that is not for the local country.
Corridor happiness, Ministry of Unity and Corridor happiness. Corridor happiness and Ministry of Unity. Total confunction nonsense. Total confunction nonsense. I hope Chris gets to coming back and finish up that thought. Chris? That being said, guys, as we watch the program time, I want to thank both Christopher. I'm going to hold to see if Christopher comes in back, and both Christopher Jones, the opposition chief whip. I want to thank both Christopher Jones and uh, the one and only David Patterson for joining. As you know, Christopher was the director of sports under the APNU AFC administration, and David Patterson was the minister of infrastructure. Did a lot of work. So it's laughable when you hear from them talking about projects that weren't maintained and infrastructure that weren't maintained. Madness, lies, propaganda, foolishness. And I hope we've been able to shed some light on some of the nonsense they're talking about here, guys. I want to thank so many of you who have joined us over this lunch hour period. We hope you guys have had a good lunch. But we know things tight if you're not a good lunch. We understand that things tight, folks. We understand that things tight. Again, I want to thank both Christopher Jones and the one and only David Patterson for joining the discussion today. I know they have both busy schedule. We got Parliament sitting again on Thursday. We all are working hard, guys, to make sure that we represent the people of this country properly before the National Assembly. I want to thank both again, Christopher Jones and David Patterson, members of Parliament. Christopher Jones was the former director of sports, and David was the former minister of infrastructure. And of course, there's no steady progress in transformation in this country under these jagabats. At all, at all, at all. Thanks for joining us wherever you've joined us from today. Patrick Grenville, we see you there, Patrick. We see you there, Roxanne Estrado and Ann Williams. We see you, Candy Lillian Inderjeet. We see you, Sister Mercy. We see you, Sheena Hazel. We see you, Roxanne D'Souza and Lizzie Simon. We see you. We see you guys. Thanks for sharing the live stream. We want to see those emojis as well. My son Zane says, hello, everybody. Zane says, hello. He wants to talk on the mic. Don't you. He wants to say hello. He says, hello, guys. Zane is with us today. He's the fourth member of the panel. He barely turned one in November of this very year here. We're so happy to have Zane. We training you up here in studio, guys. Good to see you all. Thanks for joining the live stream. Thank you so much. Margaret Nelson, good to see you. Claudette Clark, good to see you. Ray McKinnon, good to see you. Dennis Samuels, good to see you. Chisung Henry, we see you. Hope you guys have had a fantastic lunch. Folks, do not let the weather get the better of you. Surmount all of the challenges that come your way. We don't only want to live, guys, but we want to thrive. Thanks for joining Below the Belt. Who vex lose? Who vex lose? See you guys in the ring at 8 p.m. this evening. We're going to see you in the ring. That being said, guys, thanks for joining us. Below the Belt, who vex, who vex lose. Thanks for joining us. Stay safe, guys.